Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. We did it. It is once again time for the best tournament in sports. The Champions League is back on Tuesday. We'll have a full afternoon of action, and then we'll have a whole nother day on Wednesday, and then I guess we'll get into Europa League and Europa Conference League on Thursday. But we are back to such a great time to be a soccer fan. There is action every single day. I'm Andrew Passaro. Make sure you're following us at the Plus Money Pod, at Andrew Passaro on Twitter and Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube and you could drop us a like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate that. Joining me today is Kyle Bonn. You can follow him at _bonfire, and you can catch his work over at Sporting News. There's plenty of coverage from Sporting News coming up with game previews for the Champions League, so be on the lookout for that. Kyle, this is a long time coming. I feel like we've been tweeting bets back and forth for quite a while, so happy to finally get you on the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on. I appreciate it. Hopefully the first of many.
Yes, definitely. Would love that, especially with 2 episodes a week coming at you now, as we'll get you ready for every weekend in the Premier League and every midweek with the Champions League. Let's start with some futures. I'm going to throw a couple at you that I like. I was an investor early on Real Madrid. I got it at plus 900. It's down to plus 850. I did put that in thinking it would drop drastically because they would sign Kylian Mbappe, which didn't happen, but I still, this is still a team that has won this competition time and time again with a manager who's done it in Ancelotti. And, well, it turns out Jude Bellingham's a pretty good goal scorer too. So, they're doing okay. I do like, that's my only future to win the tournament. A couple other ones I like. I do have PSG to win the group of death at plus 115. And I do like AC Milan and our American boys at plus 125 to get out of the group of death. And a cheeky one, a little El Clasico parlay for you. Real Madrid and Barcelona to both win their groups clocks in at plus 118. So those are what I'm looking at ahead of the group stages. You got any for me and my listeners?
Yeah, so I love that you threw those out there because there are some I'm on board with you with, and some that I disagree. So we'll start with the winner. I love Real Madrid. I think that they have shown a lot. I was questioning them before the season because I wasn't sure moving Jude Bellingham up was the right call. Obviously, egg on my face there, but I was just not sure because he's so adept at really everything in midfield. I mean, he can defend, he can, clog passing spaces, so many things. So I wasn't sure that moving him up was the right call because you lose so much of that. But my goodness, how awesome has he been? They haven't lost a step without Militao. The only thing I wonder about is no Thibaut Courtois. And obviously he was so important to their last title. A good goalkeeper is huge. I don't know if I trust Lunin or now Kepa in that role. Kepa's been better since his struggles a couple years ago, but I just don't know if he's a title winning goalkeeper. We'll see. I love Bayern, but they have the same problem now. Ulrich in goal is I don't know why they got rid of Jan Sommer. That was insane. But
yeah,
they just have such a good team. I love Bayern. They have moxie. They can come back and battle. And now they have Kane. I mean, they were awesome without Kane last year, even trying to figure out it, with Mane up front. But now with Kane, he fits that team so well. I love Bayern at plus 600. I just think that's the team I trust the most right now. Outside Man City. So
yeah,
that's probably the winner I would stick with, but I think close second would be Real Madrid. I think that's a great pick. I want to talk about group of death because I think I'm going to stay away from that. The odds just aren't palatable enough to trust anybody in that mess. I don't like PSG. I don't think they make it out of the group.
Wow.
I really don't.
I love that.
Yeah. Their midfield is brutal, man. They've needed a midfield for about 3 years now. And then they got Ugarte, but they got rid of Verratti, who was like Verratti's like the scotch tape that was holding that horrible midfield together in the first place. And they got rid of him because that club does awesome job at blaming all the wrong people for their problems. And they blamed Verratti and Messi for their issues when in reality it wasn't their fault to begin with. So they've done some good business this summer, but they got rid of some key players, and I don't see it happening for PSG. I really like Newcastle. I really like Milan. They both struggle with consistency, but I'm down on PSG. I don't think Mbappe can carry them by himself. So we'll see. I'm going to stay away from that one altogether. I just don't like the odds with regards to the risk.
I totally get where you're coming from, but I'm going to jump into my first batch of picks. For Tuesday, I'll have 2 picks for Tuesday, a quick parlay, and then 2 picks for Wednesday. And I'm going to start with PSG as they take on Dortmund. I like both teams to score. I like over 2.5, and I like 25 plus match shots. That's the same game parlay plus 112. Both teams to score is hitting 4 to 5 matches for PSG, including games against Nice, Lyon, and Lens. And they also tied 1-1 with Toulouse. And it's hitting 4 out of the 5 matches for Dortmund in notable games against Heidenheim and Bochum, who aren't exactly Bundesliga powerhouses. Over 3.5 is only plus 136, which is kind of low, but I do think it happens. I kind of see that one getting hairy. And then I will jump to another Bundesliga team. Young Boys take on Young Boys take on RB Leipzig, and I like Leipzig and over 2.5 at plus 115. What do you like from Tuesday's slate?
Yeah, I'll touch on those. I like them both. I think especially that PSG Dortmund one. Love both teams to score there. PSG's defense has confused me so far because I thought that's the best part of their team going into the year. You look at the front line, Ramos and Dembele are good, but they haven't really figured it out yet. Midfield's a mess. I like their defense, and they've just been porous. I mean, they've given up over 1 expected goals in 3 out of their 5 league games so far this year. That's shocking to me. I'm surprised. So, and Dortmund's they try to outscore everybody. So I love that. I've got some picks. First, I'll go with I'm doing most research on the big games just because that's what we're writing about. I'm going on a limb here a little bit, but I really like Man City over 4.5 goals, just to blow out their opponent, Red Star, tomorrow. They've done so well at home in the Champions League. On the road, Pep likes to shut it down early. At home, he lets them fly, and they've blown out a bunch of opponents at home in the Champions League over the last 3 or 4 years. You can get them over 3.5 at minus 120. But if you're going to go for the blowout, go for the blowout. I'm going over 4.5 at plus 180. I just think the values, if they're going to score 4, in my mind, they're going to score 5.
Totally agree.
So I like that jump. It's a little scary to make that push from 3.5 to 4.5 because it feels like a lot, because it is a lot. But if anybody could do it, they can. I also I was writing up a little bit on Milan Newcastle earlier. First of all, that's going to be a fun game. I mean, just fun. I think it's exciting. I like the draw in these even games. The draw almost always presents the best value. Both teams are at plus money line. The draw's at plus 240. I like the under too. The under you can get at minus 105. Both these teams have been weirdly leaky early on, but if you look at the underlying numbers, Newcastle especially has conceded more goals than they should have. Nick Pope has weirdly been bad so far to start the year. He's underperforming his XGOT by a lot. But he was really good last year. So I expect that excellent. I expect that to come back to the mean. I think both teams will play this safe. Pulisic's being rotated, as is Tijani Reinders. So I think you lose a little bit in the Milan attack there. Chukwueze hasn't done anything this year so far, and Reinders has been awesome. So I like both teams to play this conservative. I think 0-0 or 1-1 is very likely.
Yeah, I'm pumped to watch that one, but I have Newcastle in my top 4 in the Premier League, but I haven't seen that team show up yet, so I'm staying away from them because they've been losing me money early on in the Premier League. I do have a 3-leg parlay for just Tuesday of just over 2.5 in Barca, Antwerp, Man City, Red Star, and Dortmund, PSG. That's plus 152. That'll take us to Wednesday. And as much as I'm excited for Tuesday's slate, Wednesday's slate, it was just easier for me to pick winners out of. You've got Real Madrid taking on Union Berlin. You got Bayern taking on Man United. You got Arsenal taking on PSV. And you got Benfica taking on Red Bull Salzburg. You take all four of them, any line that's plus 286. Then I'll jump into my picks. And look, I am a Liverpool fan. Yes, I'm wearing a Sevilla jersey right now. But if you guys listen to this podcast, you know where my heart is. And it is so easy to fade Manchester United right now. So I'm taking Bayern team total over 2.5. And I like Bayern money line over 2.5 and over 6.5 corners is plus 124. The Bayern team total is plus 144. They should take care of business against just a rough shape Manchester United right now. And then my favorite bets last year of any team, I loved betting Napoli last year, and Napoli in over 1.5 at Braga is plus 110, and Napoli team total over 1.5 is minus 130. They've hit that team total in most matches so far in Serie A. They're not going to get to the same levels they were with the coaching change, but they've got a tough group, I think. I think Union Berlin are better than some people expect, and obviously they have Real Madrid, so they need to get things going quickly. And I think they're going to go to Portugal and get all 3 points. So that's where I'm leaning for Wednesday.
I mean, it's such a mess right now with Manchester United. I maybe, Eric Ten Hag can cook something up. Bayern's shown weaknesses at various points, but they've shown weaknesses at various points over the last few years, and it's never hurt them in big games against teams they should beat. So I love it. I love it here. Bayern doesn't really run the score up. That's the only thing you'll want to be careful of. They're not like a Man City. They don't just pour it on in Europe. They will in the Bundesliga, but they don't as much in Europe. So that's the only thing I would just be a little careful of, but I hammer as much as you possibly can. I think Arsenal PSV is an interesting one. PSV is a good team, but I see Dutch sides like I do Portuguese sides. You can only put so much stock in their league play and their league form going into Europe. And before I touch a game with a Dutch team, I want to see one or two. So, and I feel the same way about a Portuguese team, mostly because last year I faded Portuguese teams left and right because that had always been my strategy because they had just stunk in Europe. And last year they did some things. It wasn't great, but it was a lot better. And so I'm a little gun shy about Portuguese teams, and I just see Dutch teams the same, maybe a little better. So I'm probably shying away from Arsenal PSV only for that reason. Elsewhere, I'm not as high on Union Berlin as you are, but Real Madrid have been weird recently. They're conceding goals at a little higher rate than they should, and they're not scoring as much as they should outside of Bellingham. Bellingham's scoring he's got like 6 goals on like 1.5 XG or something stupid like that. They just don't create as much right now without Benzema. Joselu just doesn't do it up front. And so in that game, I love an under. I'll be honest, I haven't seen what the odds are, so I reserve the right to rescind that. But if I see what the odds look like, if the market feels the same way. But let's see, under is plus 118. I mean, that's glorious.
Yeah.
Union Berlin were incredibly defensive last year. We all talked about that. They're not like that as much this year, but I would love an under in that game. That's kind of what I see on Wednesday.
And just, look, just take the numbers aside. this is Union Berlin. What is it? Their first time in the Champions League, and your first match and group stage game is at the brand new Santiago Bernabeu, which if you haven't seen the videos of how they assembled this thing, it is a work of art, and every stadium builder going forward should take an example out of what they're doing there, because it's amazing and frankly puts most American stadiums to shame. And we have some great, amazing buildings here to watch sport in. But yes, I totally agree with you. That game does scream on. And I think Vinicius is still out until I think even match day 2. He may even, I think, miss Madrid's trip to Napoli, which is another reason to think about the under there. All right. Well, we are at just about 15 minutes. So that's going to wrap it up here. It was a quick one. It's easy. We got you some picks. I will tell you right now, I will be betting very hard on Thursday as we get ready for Liverpool's return to Europa League. They take on, I think it's the McAllister Bowl, because Kevin and Alexis play each other on Thursday. So if you want those picks, I will have some for you on Twitter at Andrew Passaro. You can follow Kyle at _bonfire. Great follow. He's a lot of great news in the soccer world that he's covering, whether it's betting stuff, whether it's the US stuff, whether it's any league. I see him out there chiming in on everything. So if you're not following, go make sure you are. I appreciate you making us a couple minutes for us today. And to everybody else, best of luck. Let's stay positive, and let's get ready for some Champions League.